sworn?
Bailey, will you swear the witnesses? Desk. Desk. Bailey.
Close enough.
Bailey. That's it. Bailey, that one's no good. Got it, man. Bailey should put his hand down.
Promise to tell the whole truth, the whole truth, the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
I can so help you, Bailey.
Bailey.
So help you Bailey.
I can.
Please state your full name and your occupation.
I'm Richard Bissell, and I'm Deputy Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, dealing with special operations.
As Deputy Director, to whom are you and your department answerable to?
Well, the CIA is a division of government operating under the President and the National Security Council.
How is your CIA involved in any way with the base invasion?
Well, we, under the President, helped organize, train, and finance on the recent unsuccessful efforts to keep refugees, and we're trying to overthrow Castro.
What was your personal role in this operation?
Well, I organized it.
What was the purpose, the planned purpose of the invasion?
To help the Cuban refugees overthrow the communist Castro government.
Could you please describe the basic invasion plan, where the jumping stations were, and what forces were involved?
Well, the rebel troops began to train in Guatemala under CIA supervision in May '61, and it reached its greatest strength in recent weeks. There were about 7 camps, and many of the Cuban pilots were trained by U.S. pilots belonging to, let's say, the F-104 jet fighter group and others.
And this plan was designed to the specifications of your superior,
Yes.
who was?
John F. Kennedy.
At the time of the invasion, that is the week of April 17, 1961, what organization claimed responsibility for the actions of the invasion force?
The Revolutionary Council.
Do you know the members of the Revolutionary Council?
I don't have their exact names, but
And how are the leaders of the Cuban Revolutionary Council related to the Central Intelligence Agency?
well, they were like a puppet group of the CIA.
Can you count the whereabouts on April 17, 1961?
Well, on April 17th, the anti-Castro forces in Cuba and the members of the Cuban Revolutionary Force were kept incommunicado by the CIA in the Old House in Miami.
They professed to be the leaders of the Revolutionary Force.
Yes, they were the leaders, and they were taken into custody so that they were kept from having any direct role in the landings and from the coordination of the effort with the underground in Cuba, yet they were given direct responsibility.
So who then, in effect, was directing the invaders of the Bay of Pigs?
The CIA,
And who authorized the invasion?
John F. Kennedy.
Thank you. Defense Secretary.
You're a witness. Thank you.
Okay, I just want to clear up some facts of the things you said. You said that the troops started training in May *61. Didn't the invasion happen in April *61? Oh, okay. I just wasn't sure if you were. Okay.
The rest of the
Yeah.
Right. Were the Cubans volunteers?
Yeah.
They were volunteers. They weren't forced to participate in this activity, were
Well, they were volunteers per se, but many of them volunteered because they had nothing better in life because Castro had taken over, the government Castro had taken over their homeland.
they? What did the CIA tell them when they offered themselves to be trained for a landing?
That they would be trained and they would be trained in guerrilla warfare to help their country.
Did the CIA not say that they were going to get no U.S. support and this was not under President Kennedy's office? This was a CIA operation.
Whatever the CIA does is under President Kennedy. The CIA cannot act unless it is told by its superior.
By its superior? Okay, I want to keep that in mind. Who was officially sponsoring the operation?
The CIA and John Kennedy. The United States government.
No, they were not officially responsible. I want to point out that she's lying right now. The official sponsors of this invasion was the Cuban Revolutionary Council. They were officially inspired.
But if they would, the Cuban Revolutionary,
On the basis of the ground that we pointed out in testimony that they were a puppet of CIA.
You pointed out nothing.
You put out nothing.
You put out
said
nothing.
so.
Two of those.
We did not, because they said that they were a puppet.
Wait a second.
Bissell's reputation is in question here. Okay, thank you, Warren. Step down there. Shh.
you give me the April 26th issue of New York Times, I can cite that information.
Okay, here it is.
Should be up there looking at the evidence. You can let them say what they want.
Even though,
Yes, the
no,
point, what the point
even-
made was that we just determined, Julie just testified that they were a puppet of them.
And I'm
they
telling you
had
that she's
control.
lying. And there's my book to prove it. So.
That's
As
just
you
what
know,
you're saying.
Jeff.
Wait, the
Danny,
Cuban,
what you're saying in that book is that the Cuban
That's true, we
Revolutionary
admit to
Council
that.
sponsored it. But what I'm saying is that it's a puppet
CIA ran it.
organization.
You're saying the CIA ran it.
I'm saying it's a puppet
let's get it
organization.
fast organized.
Good job, you say that.
On tape.
Jeff, your objection is overruled.
No, but you didn't even hear what
I
I
heard
said.
what you said. Yes. I did
Oh,
sit down.
Sit down,
Danger of contempt.
That's perjury.
What was the CIA's function in reference to 2506?
2506.
What was their function?
Well, the agency, it precipitated the attack of, and, well, the agency was in charge of the attack on the JFK. And the principal charge against the CIA is that it precipitated the attack without adequate coordination with the underground. It was supposed to keep in touch with the Cuban rebels and the underground. And there were supposed to be warnings against any attempt, but this was not given, and that's why the mission wasn't carried out.
Was there an alternative plan if the frontal assault that the CIA proposed failed? There was no alternative plan.
Not that I know.
I'd like to point out that Bissell is lying again. There was an alternative plan, which she told President Kennedy about. I'll point this out in a second here. Where is it here? Okay. Bissell tells the president that if the frontal assault fails, that they can go to the S. Kennedy Mountains, which are 80 miles away, through swamps. That was something that they obviously
Objection,
couldn't
that
do.
was not an actual alternative plan. That was part of the regular plan.
No, it wasn't, because the Cuban revolutionaries were not told of this plan. They were told a frontal assault. If they failed, they were going to fall back on the beaches where U.S. military planes were going to
But they
help
were
them.
not told. And how could it be an alternative plan if they knew nothing of it and were not told of it?
Either go up and Mike,
He's not listening to us.
I am listening to you. And I understand your objection.
Just a minute.
I would like to see your I do agree on you.
If there were an alternative plan, it would have been
But it
told.
was not a serious plan. And I am, right now, rather in favor of it.
You should confer with your other judges before making mistakes.
Something that shows
I'm going to yield for Alex.
Kennedy rejected that plan anyway.
So there was no real alternative plan.
There was no alternative
There was an alternative
He
plan.
rejected it.
Kennedy was told by the CIA that if the frontal assault failed, they could go to the S. It's true, it's in the book.
Okay, did not Kennedy order that that there should be no American involvement, direct American involvement in the quote Bay of Pigs invasion unquote? I'm using that good quotes because it's a
No, I
prejudicial
mean-
term.
Even when the Cuban Revolutionary
didn't?
forces, listen,
Did not
even
force.
when the Cuban Revolutionary forces were in Miami and they were incommunicado and they were kept in the room and they were without a phone and they were without any permission from communicating with the outside world, that was direct order of Kennedy. And when they were permitted a radio, they learned that landings were put out in their names, which was completely false. And so then they had a secret meeting with Kennedy and Adolf A. Burles Jr., Kennedy's coordinator of Latin American policy.
This is excellent, but this is absolutely irrelevant to the question.
I'm saying that everything was secret and that Kennedy didn't know about it. I mean, and he did have.
You say Kennedy ordered that Americans should have direct involvement, should have planes, have CIA members fly planes when the Cuban pilots were too tired to fly in for support.
You have to understand that anything that the CIA does is under direct order from Kennedy. The
Oh.
CIA cannot act.
I would like to indict her for lying again. Obviously, Bissell is proving to be incredibly reliable.
Is there going to be a decision made on this charge?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, there will be. Because what's at issue here is what Kennedy ordered. And if she's lying to saying that Kennedy ordered it, if Kennedy didn't order it, and the CIA happened to fly the planes, which they wound up doing, then
She testified to nothing about planes. That was not brought up in direct examination.
fine, we're redirecting because
You can't bring it up and redirect it in cross-examination.
well, she did, however, say that the CIA.
Object on the grounds that it was not brought up in a direct.
I object because she said that Kennedy ordered. The CIA ordered that. She said that the CIA was under direct command of JFK. Now I'm testing her reliability on that, and that is absolutely crucial to the defense of my obviously innocent defendant.
I'll allow it in this case.
So you're saying Kennedy ordered that there be forces, despite the fact that we'll have evidence to prove he didn't.
Kennedy gave the order, and Kennedy's the head of the CIA, and the CIA cannot act unless Kennedy.
Is he not also Commander-in-Chief of the American forces?
He is.
And let's say if one private goes off the rocker and attacks a Russian in Berlin, that would be his direct responsibility.
He's commander of forces.
I object. Bringing up matters not relevant.
Oh, it is relevant.
Oh, not relevant.
Because what is also being discussed here is the rogue CIA.
Hypothetical situations cannot be brought up before.
His
You're
objection
wrong
is
here.
entirely sustained.
You're wrong.
Please continue with another line of questioning.
Okay. No further questions, at least for me.
Okay. Since you were in charge of this invasion plan, you were taking care of every aspect that was going to be happening, supposedly. Yes?
Yeah.
Would you say that this plan was a well-prepared plan?
There was much thought put into it, and I'd say almost every aspect was thought out very well.
Including the landings, to drops, and to planning of where the rebels were supposed to go, or the revolutionaries, to where they were supposed to go after they landed in the Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, the CIA recruited, trained, and controlled.
I guess then you would consider coral beds an excellent landing zone for soldiers, as opposed to what you told them to be sandy beaches.
Why not? It would be a surprise.
Well, as the frogmen found out, and as they will testify later on, they were ripped to shreds by coral and swift currents while they're landing in the Bay of Pigs.
But, I mean, that's...
Objection. This is not brought up in direct examination. I don't see.
I'm asking your questions.
Yes, but it wasn't brought up in direct examination.
Please, your question.
We'll just call them all as hostile
Bring up
witnesses,
stuff
don't worry.
that we brought up in direct examination to
Okay.
answer what she said. And is the objection sustained or overruled?
It's sustained.
It's a state.
All right. Were you, or was the brigade misled or lied to by herself in any way?
You said it,
Was the brigade misled or lied to in any way?
no, they were told our orders.
They were told the truth throughout the entire operation.
Well, no, because many times some of the guerrilla forces in Cuba, the Cuban exiles, some of the the groups were excluded from operations, even though many of them were very experienced because of alleged favoritism and factions by the company.
Okay, I would just like to point out at this time that the Cuban revolutionaries were lied to on numerous occasions about American help. Did you not say, Mr. Bissell?
This is narration. This is cross-examination, not narration.
I'm trying to bring out a point. I'm trying to bring out that she's lying, that they were lied
She
to.
said they were lied to.
No, she didn't. She said they weren't lied to.
I
Who were they lied to?
Yes, they were.
They were lied to. Okay.
Objection overruled in this case.
Was
Mr.
Kennedy
Bernard,
lied to?
your comments to
Was Kennedy lied to by yourself?
Kennedy was informed of every political aspect of the band because
Political aspect.
Because he's head of the.
Was he informed of the military aspects of the Bay of
He's
Pigs?
commander-in-chief. He has
Was
to.
he informed correctly of the aspects of the Bay of
He
Pigs?
was informed of everything that went on secretly by agents and by. He was informed by soldiers. He was informed of everything.
So everything that you told him was the truth. You did not lie to him at all.
Are you completely honest also?
I'm asking you a question. I'm not on trial, man.
Objection sustained.
Since you went to Richard Bissell,
Please control yourself, counsel.
then you better get an eye check.
I should like to make the point that the witness is again lying to the court because Kennedy the president was informed.
Objection. She did not say that he was not. He was. She said he was.
She said she never lied to him. I'm going to prove that she just did. But
Allow the questioning, allow her to speak a witness answer.
Wait, can I make a statement here?
Go ahead.
She said, obviously by her statement, have you always told the truth? That Kennedy was not told all the truth. She said he was informed of almost everything. That was what she was saying. But obviously he was not told all the truth. You know, he wasn't told maybe he landed in the coral, whatever. The witness has.
Yes.
That's, I'm just saying exactly what she said.
Granted.
Shut up.
well, all right. So, did you lie to the president of the United States concerning the military matters of the Bay of Pigs?
I didn't tell him all the truth all the time.
So, you. Okay. Let's keep that as a question. Okay. Lastly, since you visited the camp often under the alias of Dick, that was what you were called in Guatemala, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Under the alias of Dick.
A nickname for Richard?
Yeah, it's not exactly an alias, it's a nickname.
Whatever nickname doesn't matter. Okay.
So I have a name.
Was there an alternate plan if the invasion was called off by Kennedy, by the CIA?
He just said this before. And it wasn't brought out in the testimony before.
So just answer the question.
I'm asking you a question. Can you
Objection
answer?
based on the. Where's that thing? The counsel's asking the witness about matters that did not come up in direct examination.
Yeah, it is. It's her involvement in the Bay of Pigs.
Her involvement?
Stay.
Objection.
Thank you.
This pertains directly to the case of the witness.
Directly. Look. Okay. I'm gonna hold that to my last question. What was Kennedy told about the Cuban Air Force
Well,
by yourself?
he knew that there were many camps set up and under aliases such as shrimp factories or ranches, and he knew that 2,000 or 3,000 of the exiles were captured.
No. What did Kennedy know about the strength of the Cuban Air Force?
He knew everything the CIA knew.
And what did the CIA do? What? Go on. Finish your.
Well, he knew that I don't know the exact numbers.
Well, I'll let the court read what the CIA memorandum that was sent to Kennedy, and to bring out another point that in actuality the Cuban Air Force was a lot more powerful than the CIA told Kennedy, and it ended up that the Bay of Pigs was an absolute disaster in terms of air power. There was by T-33s. And actually,
Are you making a statement or asking a question?
I'm making a statement. I'm saying that what she
Statement.
said.
Submitting evidence.
You were working for Eisenhower in the CIA when he was president, were you not?
Objection. Eisenhower was not brought up under direct examination, therefore.
Okay. Whatever. I know this, but they. All you doing right now is not going to say it. Okay. I'm going to ask you for my last question now. What was the CIA plan if the forces in Washington were to cancel the invasion?
That they had to cancel because the president is head of the CIA.
That had to be canceled.
Then
I'd like to point out that the witness is lying again.
You say perjury, right?
Perjury, whatever. She's lying.
We'd like
All right, the witness is
point for documents.
Okay. The CIA told brigade members if forces in Washington stopped the landing, the Cuban forces were to take over the camp, and the CIA would secretly continue the operation against the president's orders. And I have.
I think it's the Kennedy document.
Would you like to mark these as
Objection. Based on the fact this has nothing to do with what we're trying to prove in the case. They're just looking for things to find perjury on. She didn't necessarily research this. Just because she doesn't know it, who cares? We're trying to find out whether Kennedy was guilty or not in this case. Who cares about this?
I'm bringing out the point that if
Can I go and ask you
miss
something
something
about
from the brigade, Kennedy,
Wait, let me finish. If I come up and ask you about where you were born and things like that, do you necessarily have to know this for this case? It's not, it's not that important. This has nothing to do with the case.
This has direct relevance to the case. She is the head of the invasion of the Bay of Pigs. She's lying to the president. She's lying to the brigade.
She's
lying everywhere she
It's
goes.
hypothetical as well. If Kennedy said no, Kennedy said yes. If Kennedy said no, would there be another thing? That's hypothetical.
What I'm bringing out, Your Honor, is the fact that it was not an operation that was run by Kennedy. It was an operation that was distinctly run by the CIA. Kennedy was misinformed, misled, and lied.
You're saying
Therefore, he could not make correct decisions based on correct information. Neither could the brigade members, or the Cuban Revolutionary Council.
Show relevance of the alternate plan to the fact that Kennedy didn't know what was going on in the initial.
Well, the fact that Kennedy was lied to about the effectiveness of the Cuban Air Force. Kennedy,
Does that put up this question?
It's
I think
brought up
Mr. Damasi's objection is sustained.
Which is read
In this case,
Get another set.
They're arguing about it. They're arguing.
There's not just one judge, there's two other judges.
Dang. How could you hate me that much?
are you indeed, would like to make a motion to impeach the witness? Is that what you're
I'm
asking?
trying to discredit the witness. I'm trying to show
You've
that
already discredited the witness. If you would care to make a motion to impeach, then
I care to make a motion to impeach.
I would consider it. Ask any further questions you might have.
Okay. Just a quick one. What were the Cuban revolutionaries told if they were to be? Actually, I have two quick ones. What were the Cuban revolutionaries told if they were to be forced or if they were failing? If the invasion was a flop, what were they told to do?
well, first of all, the head of the Cuban revolutionaries were kept locked up in Miami.
No.
No.
You don't understand.
But the whole entire thing.
When the Cubans landed at the Bay of Pigs and they were fighting,
Yeah.
if they found themselves losing, what were they supposed to do?
They were under direct orders of the general.
To do what?
To where the general felt they should do.
What general? There was no general there.
I don't know.
She doesn't
Okay.
know, right?
I'd like to point out
She
that
doesn't know.
I don't know.
the director of the CIA, who told the brigade members that they were to come back on the beaches, this is memorandum she sent to her brigade officers that they were supposed to fall back on the beaches where American military servicemen were going to help them.
So what?
You did not listen to
She
Kennedy.
forgot, all right?
Therefore, there was supposed to be.
She forgot? What is this? 2-3 weeks ago this happened. She forgot? I guess 20 years ago.
No, she's not lying.
What is that?
Granted. Continue.
She didn't answer the question.
I'm asking
The question here. I'm not talking about objection.
He's running the
I
rings.
don't know.
Okay, you don't know. Should I tell you what happened?
If he's scared, I am.
I think think it's rather.
I think there is.
Let the
judge objectionable quite. If you have documents that prove it, just bring them back to the.
Is this agreed upon by you two?
Out of order.
Out of order.
Send them out to Officer Bailiff, just take care of that.
No, I don't know if you have any coaches.
Yeah, because they're all in there, and there's some hesitation. Wait a minute, I have one more question.
I don't even know why they called it.
You don't know? I'll ask the question anyway. Okay.
Well, we just call it.
Was this plan dependent upon a internal uprising by the Cuban people?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was one reason we started it.
So it was based upon the fact that 1,500 men were going to cause an uprising of, let's say, whatever number, to take on an army of 200,000.
Objection based on the grounds that this is a hypothetical situation.
It's not hypothetical at all. That's what the plan was.
What are you saying here now?
I'm saying that she again lied to the President of the United States. If you let me finish my line of questioning.
Okay, go ahead. But even though
Overruled.
When Castro was instructed economic sanctions, he turned to the Soviet bloc, right? And we just wanted to prevent communism.
That's not my question. My question is, was this operation dependent on a popular uprising within Cuba?
No, because
It wasn't. You just said before it was, which is
it wasn't. We weren't.
it wasn't dependent on it.
wait a second. You're browbeating the witness. Objection. You're browbeating the witness. First you said yes. Why you keep asking the same
She
question?
says yes, no, maybe so. I've been trying to get a
First
good answer out of her.
She said
Yes, same question the first name.
wait.
Never changed in Guatemala.
She's leading the witness is alleged to lead the witness.
Not in direct.
Yeah, but she's asking the same question 3 times. Why is
He's
she
trying to get a definitive answer.
I'm trying to get an answer out of her. It's really kind of difficult.
I said the question again.
Okay. Was the force of 1,500 men dependent on popular uprising to conquer a force of 200,000?
Objection. Dependent.
Wait.
This is objection. I'm talking for Jeff.
Okay, Lucas.
Objection based on the grounds. What do you mean dependent? Was this were they informed of this, or
We have to debate semantics. This is entirely
Talk about having 2 lawyers in this Trini. Come on.
I told the judges they're responsible to keep this under order.
That is.
Granted. It's overruled.
Okay.
Continue.
Okay. Yes, my question? Yes, no. Should I read it? The question was,
Are you talking about the Cuban exiles?
I'm talking about when they landed at the Bay of Pigs, was the plan that they needed a popular uprising to secure a revolution, to bring about a new form of government?
No.
They did not need a popular uprising. Is that what but did you in fact tell Kennedy that they did need a popular uprising? And is that what the chief of staff was based their military opinions on also?
Kennedy was informed about the situation.
Kennedy was informed that they didn't need a popular uprising, that they did need a popular uprising.
Julie.
It's on camera. It's recorded.
That's kangaroo court. That's mandating witness response.
I should like to bring prior to the invasion, that was well publicized, and Castro knew about it. He was prepared for it. That tens of thousands of Cuban.
Present this to the court.
Tens of thousands of Cuban dissidents or people who were against Castro were locked up in the prison. I believe it was Isle of Pines. Is that what it is?
Yeah, and there's also another one. Starts with an M. I can't remember what it's
So the CIA knew about this, and they neglected to tell Kennedy about it. And so the fact is that it wasn't going to happen.
Objection goes under the assumption that everyone who was against Castro was in jail.
No, people who loved Castro were in jail, babe.
No, I'm sorry, they
People who just
Objection. No knowledge that everyone who was against Castro was actually in jail. There's been no proof that people who were against him were not in jail.
Jeff, Call it semantics again. Objection sustained. Continue more specific line of questioning.
Okay, I just like to briefly summarize what I brought out.
Yes.
Mr. Bissell lied to the president. Mr. Bissell lied to the brigade. Mr. Bissell lied about the entire operation. Therefore, Kennedy made judgments based on.
Objection, narration.
I'm concluding my.
Are you did that in your closing statement?
I'm making my concluding statement.
No, you did that.
You can make it now. You can rest.
No, we don't care.
By the way, are you submitting that evidence now?
Take a look at it. Yeah, I'm submitting it.
We have a motion. We have a motion.
Yeah, we are submitting that evidence.
Well, did you form it?
We're doing it formally. We're submitting that evidence. That's document A, B, and C.
How come a copy was not sent to the
specific adjustments.
how come a copy of the evidence submitted was not brought to the prosecution? Hey, for our review.
Copy.
The wonders of photocopy.
We need to have
Then I'll say, all right.
When it's for
next witness.
Zero is given to you.
Things at my house
Presented at an earlier date.
Withholding evidence?
For impeachment. I'll agree to that. I looked at it all.
Yeah.
Listen, we have a motion on the defense for impeachment of the witness.
Also, we have a motion of defense for charges of perjury directed not only against the defendant, but also against the not only against the witness, but also the prosecution for doctoring evidence.
Excuse me, we made up evidence. Wait, I have not seen any proof of this. We made
How about? Does this look familiar? Yes.
Is that making up evidence?
If it's true. Take it under consideration for perjury and impeachment. And we'll give you our decision.
Yes,
I just believe that innumerable, more than 5 times we proved that the witness was lying. So
7.
No,
was it 7?
7 times.
7 times we proved with documents that the witness was lying.
We have documents to support everything our witness said.
What's your witness say?
What documents?
When you said, first of all, they said,
You haven't showed us one document to support your side.
One lawyer at a time, please.
first of all, he said the first perjury, he never gave us a chance to defend. He said who officially sponsored that. He said who sponsored the Bay invasion, and he said the Cuban Missile Crisis. She said it was CIA and Kennedy, which we brought out in our examination, that they was a puppet of that. The Cuban Missile Revolutionary Council was a puppet of the CIA, and then obviously this was not observed in the court because that's what we said, and then we said, well, the CIA was. In other words, the Cuban Revolutionary Council is part of that. It was a puppet of that. And so when you say who was the sponsor of, that's not the perjury. The point I'm making is you never gave us a chance to defend it.
Her statements were in contradiction with her written.
With the book they presented, and you did not listen to our examination. Nobody made an objection about her statement that it was a puppet.
Yeah, it was. That was the crux of it. Of course, she just said there was a puppet, and your defense for it. Well, she said it was a puppet.
No,
there must be a puppet.
we have evidence to show that it was a puppet.
We're not denying that we supplied. We're not denying that we trained. However, we're denying that it was a puppet. It certainly was not just a mouthpiece of the United States government. We have documents to prove that.
We have documents to prove otherwise.
Obviously, we would.
Yes, we will.
Obviously, we
When we
would.
bring them up,
Yes, we will.
then we will take them into
Why did we
consideration.
not- obviously we would not have-
Perjure the witness.
Obviously, we would not have 1,200 volunteers down there if they're just being
please.
mercenary puppets.
I would like a list of the 7
The
perjury
decision will be made upon the review of the
Yeah, we have to know what's the perjury. I wouldn't even know he's saying.
Okay.
We'll give you a list of the
How about the plan? We asked her if there was an alternative plan if the forces in Washington, if the forces of Washington decided that no, the invasion was not going to be carried through. The witness specifically said no, there was not. We brought up evidence to say yes, there was.
We can't have this whole debate. We already made a decision on those issues.
Next witness.
Okay.